Today we're going to be showing you how to install a light kit on your club car Tempo. The light kit we'll be installing today is the new Steeleng Meteor Ultimate LED light kit with an RGB function. So there's some really cool sequences you can do with the headlights on this kit. This is new from Steeleng. We have been selling Steeleng products for more than 10 years, and we've been selling light kits for more than 10 years. What we can say is this kit is a very good bang for the buck. What you're going to get with each kit is your headlights, two of them obviously. You're going to get your steering wheel stalk control. That's your control box module. The kit comes with a horn as well, which is your harness for hooking the kit up. They're going to come with a 12-volt converter. That's to step your battery down, whether you have lithium or old-style batteries like traditional Trojans. That takes it down from 48 volts in your car to 12 so that you don't burn up your brand new fresh lights. And then your steering column cover, that's the long part of it, and that's the top of it. Your tail lights. Your RGB module, that's for sequencing your lights and doing cool light tricks with the kit, and then your brake pedal tie-in, and that is to obviously have when you press the brake pedal, your brake lights light up. What else is cool is the turn signals on this kit are actually sequencing as well. So when you flick it, it's not just a static flash, they sequence out. Looks pretty cool as well. Obviously you get your instruction manual and this cool little box, which you can throw on the shelf when you're done. So with that, let's get to our install. We'll be installing our SGC light kit today on our 2019 Club Car Tempo. This is an old course cart, which we converted to lithium in a previous video. And while we're installing the SGC light kit today, the Meteor light kit, most light kits that you install on a Tempo will be installed in a similar fashion. So if you have a different brand of light kit and you're watching this video today, it's probably still going to help you with 90% of your install. So for step one, we're going to go ahead and we're going to turn the cart into the off position on the ignition. And then we're also going to pull our seat up and go ahead and flip the run tow switch back here into tow mode. That's to prevent any unnecessary shocks. You can see our lithium battery right here. Go check that video out on our channel. It does take up a little more room in the bay, but definitely want to get the cart into tow mode, turn your ignition off so that you don't get shocked while you're working. Step two is we're going to go ahead and cut out the templates for the front cowl. These templates you just basically place onto the cowl once they're cut out, and then we're going to trace them with a Dremel to cut the spaces where the headlights will be installed. And what Chris is doing here right now is he's actually using a little isopropyl alcohol. While you don't want to get it on the rest of your cowl, the part that we're going to be cutting out, you definitely don't care anymore. So we're wiping this down with isopropyl alcohol so that we can use painter's tape to get a little piece of tape back here and tape these templates that he's already gone ahead and cut out into place. So as we're lining this up now, the crease and the shape of the template will line up with the factory crease in the cowl. You can see it right there. So it makes it really easy to get these exactly where you need them to go. But in general, it's just going to make everything stick a lot easier to use a little bit of that alcohol. So Chris is going ahead now and he's got tape on all sides and one piece is behind the template as well. All right, and our driver's side is now in place. So Chris is going ahead and moving on to the passenger side for the installation of the template on this side. So yeah, start with that piece of tape there kind of in the center, line up your crease in the corner, and then we're just gonna work our way around. He's got another piece of tape already on that little extra tab on the passenger side. And there you go. And just like that, both of our templates are now fixed to the front of the cart. So we're ready to move on to the next step. So step three, we're gonna go ahead and grab a rotary tool, just like this one here. Ours is a Milwaukee, but a Dremel works just fine. And it's the exciting part. We're gonna start cutting our templates. And you're gonna also want a kit of like rotary tool heads, just like this, because the cutting wheel, the straight one that we have on there right now, you're going to use that for the longer, straighter parts of the template. And then when you get to the corners, you're definitely going to want one of these smaller, more detail-oriented heads. Most importantly, wear safety glasses. We don't want anyone losing an eyeball around here. And we're just going to be tracing right along the line, just like this. The plastic isn't too thick, so you don't really have to push super hard. You can't ever put it back, so just take your time, work your way along the edges, and if you need to go back over and retrace and kind of push harder, you can do that as well. So Chris has already traced along the entire top and wider corner of the headlight template. He's moving to the bottom now and skipping the corner, as you can see kind of over here. He's skipping that corner area because he's going to come back with the sanding tool to hit the corners. We're going ahead and turning the speed up, and now we're taking out the real chunks of plastic. And as you can see in the corners here, I'll show you all the places that we now have to cut. So he stopped here in this corner, and we're gonna want to, I'll zoom in. We're gonna wanna connect this now. So we're gonna do like a little, like 30-degree cut there, you know, just connecting the edges. This corner here, same thing, just connecting, it's like connect the dots. And then this corner over here as well, obviously we didn't do the rounded part. We're gonna do a 45-degree angle right there, just boom, cut straight across. Then this whole piece, once we cut all of those corners, we'll just pop out, and we're gonna use our sanding head to finish the corners. All right, so the first 45-degree angle, we're just connecting the two edges. Be careful not to go beyond the template, because that'll remain on your cart. So don't go outside the lines. You will see that if you do. All right, so Chris finished cutting all of the corners. So now this should just pop straight in if he gives it a little press. Go ahead. There it is. So our first one's loose. We're gonna go ahead and repeat the exact same process on this side. So again, we've turned the speed down on the rotary tool just a little to get our first cuts nice and straight. This is the part that takes the absolute longest, these first cuts. It takes a lot of focus. You really wanna make sure you take your time, take breaks if you want in between, and then you can obviously turn the speed way up when you go around the second time. I skipped over recording the heavier cutting. He's now just going around the edge with a little razor blade. If there's any little stubborn pieces, you can use this to go ahead and pop them off. There it is. So both sides are now loose. He's got a razor blade now, and he's gonna start cutting away some of this ugly, dried, like hard plastic from what the heat generated. If you're not comfortable using a razor blade, you can use just a regular file for this part as well. But you're gonna wanna clean up as much as you can here, rather than using the Dremel with the sandpaper head, which could just spin it right back in and kind of heat it all up again. Cut off as much of this stuff as you can with a razor, and then we're gonna just Dremel the remaining corners as we talked about earlier. Alrighty, so we are completely cleaned up here as best as we could with the razor blades. And now Chris has the sandpaper attachment on, and we're gonna take out these edges in the corners. Remember, you're just following the template that we put in place in the beginning, and just, you know, go straight back to third grade. Let's go ahead and cut around this. Safety glasses back on, of course. Just like that, we're getting a nice round curve. One more thing I want to mention is Chris is sanding. This is the longest step, step 3, in the entire light kit install process. Cutting these out, taking your time, this is what takes the longest. The rest of the kit is pretty much a breeze. So if this seems long, this step is a little long, but take your time. It'll look amazing, I promise. Moving on to the driver's side. With all the sanding done, we went back around each side, made sure everything's really smooth. That is going to complete step 3. Now for step 4, if you look in your kit, there's these bezels that actually are gonna go around the outer rim of your headlight. So there's 2 of them in the kit, and this is specific to the Steeleng Meteor kit. So we're gonna grab both of these, because what we're gonna do now is we're gonna pop them into the holes that we cut and deburred. So we're just gonna apply a little bit of pressure using both hands to get this thing popped into place. You hear those snaps just like that. If it's not going in perfectly, if it's fitting a little too snug, you may have to pull out your Dremel again or a razor blade and do a little extra trimming around the edges. So don't be discouraged if yours doesn't pop straight in. we have a little space right there. So we're gonna go ahead and get our Dremel out, and we're just gonna take your time. Don't take too much away. You want this to be snug, but just take little by little anywhere where you're not having it pop in until it does pop in. That corner over there looks really good. And so we're just using a permanent marker to make some dots here, not of how high up we're gonna go, but just like the sections that we're gonna be trimming. We just trimmed up that corner a little more. We're gonna try again here. All right, so keeping you guys in the loop here, we got this side in, snapped in nicely, and now Chris, he test fit the passenger side headlight and found that it was a little snug as well, so he's just taking off a little extra material where we were snagging, and then we should have both of the bezels in. Okay, both sides are now in. For step 5, we are going to be removing the dash trim and the inner dash piece because we need to get the cowl off. And in order to do that, to get access to put our headlights in, the rest of them, we need to pull both of these pieces out. So you have, these are Torx bits up top, T25, and you have a T27 right here. You can see Chris has them right there. So you just need a T25 and a T27 Torx bit. The 27s are down low here. There's 3 of them. There's number 1. There's number 2 right there next to the ignition. And then number 3 is right there. And then up top, we're just gonna go around the trim pieces here. There's these little indents where the other ones are. So 7 total, 2 different sizes. So as Chris is getting that last T25 out, you had 1 here, 1 up here, 1 right there, and then 1 down where he is, like the same on this side. What we did notice was we pulled the T27s, that one and this one, and we noticed that this top one that's supposed to be a T27, we believe, is actually much smaller. It is a 15, that's confirmed. All right, so taking that 15 out now, your T15, you just saw the dash slide down just a bit. And actually, if you remember from our lithium install, we were already in here because we put this gauge in and we ran wiring back here. So we'll pull this little front panel piece off. There we go, just like that. And obviously got some of your wiring. So Chris is gonna disconnect the connector on this side right now, just to make things cleaner as we're working. There we go. You can do that too. So there we go, we're gonna set that to the side. And now we're gonna pop this trim piece off. Comes off that easy. You literally just slide it straight back. Okay, and that completes step number 5. All right, with those off, the next piece here for step 6 is we're gonna pull off this front plastic body piece so that the cowl is loose so that we can get in here to get our headlights in. So Chris has a little plastic pry tool. You can get these at any auto parts store, and they make it easier to not do damage to the body of your cart. We're just gonna stick it in here, find the tabs, and then we'll pop this baby right out. Now we're gonna go to this side. Same thing, and you can see the cowl's pretty loose back there because we already removed the trim piece, so as you're loosening it. There we go, tabs are coming right up, and we are loose. So the whole cowl comes off just like that. Don't be afraid, it looks a little scary. This is also a great time to just get a wet rag and go ahead and clean up this plastic, get all the dirt off it. So we'll do that real quick. All right, and just like that, it looks even more like Darth Vader now with his mask off. And now for step 7, we're gonna actually grab our headlight and our headlight frame. And this is exactly what's gonna hold the headlight in the cart. So it's gonna mount where we just opened up to get access to. And then, yeah, what Chris can show you here is this actually goes into the headlight's gonna sit in the frame. So there is some hardware that came with this Steeleng Meteor kit. You get a pack of screws that are gonna help us to secure our headlights to their frame housing. So we're gonna put this together right now. We'll show you that, and then we'll get them in the cart. Okay, so we're using a flat surface here. The cart seat works just fine. It's gentle on the headlight. And we're gonna just use a Phillips head screwdriver to secure that housing to the headlight itself. Recommend using a hand screwdriver, not power tools, because you're dealing with fragile electronics. And we don't want to crack anything. Just like that, 2 on that side, and then 2 on the other side. While Chris is getting those last 2 screws in, which I will show, we're actually going to use, when you mount it in the cart, it's pretty easy because we're reusing factory hardware for the housing. So you don't have to do any more holes, any more cuts. The hardest part is over, like I said. So now we're just cruising. Okay, we got those other screws in now, and we'll show you how this sits in the cart as well. All right, so this is the driver's side, and you can see here we're gonna reuse this Torx bit, and then we already pulled this one out. We're gonna be putting one in right here as well. You wanna show how it sits in here? Just like, so you've got that like tab around the corner there. See that? That just literally slides right in there like that. And then the other one, yeah, you can see the holes just line up right there and right there on the back tab. And that's how your headlight's gonna get mounted in there. All right, so we're getting that last T25 out of the back right now. So these are pretty standard on club cars. They're a T25 head, and then I'm not sure of the size on the threading, but we can help you get these. If for any reason you're missing one here or here, let's say to hold your kit in, we can help you get those on our site, golfcartiresupply.com. But yes, you will need 2 of them to screw these in. So now we're gonna go ahead and get this mounted. Okay, just getting it kind of finger tight there to hold in place. Then we'll get this side in. And as you can see, just like that, looking pretty cool. Checking to make sure we're nice and tight. Give it a little jiggle on the edges, and then you can get those final little turns in to make sure your headlight's not bouncing around when you're driving. Now we'll move on to the, this is just sitting here right now with no screws in it, so we don't want it to fall. But we're gonna move on to the passenger side. Alrighty, so the headlights are in. For step 8, we're gonna be moving to the rear of the cart just to show you visually, so you can see where this, where the cable sits on the taillight, and some of this like kind of like tape. And then there's 2 tabs on here where we're going to use screws to mount. So the first thing we need to do is we need to cut a hole, just poke a little hole in here in the plastic, an easy one, much easier than the front, so that the taillight can mount here and that the wires can feed through, so that we can hook them up to our harness. So to do that, find where the cart kind of like, see this curve up here? It curves and then it becomes flat. Right where it becomes flat, we want to go over 2.5 inches with a tape measure and up 1 3/4 inches, and that's where we're going to make our mark. So the size hole we're going to make, we're going to use our Milwaukee hole dozer. We're a big fan of these tools, and that is 1, and we're going with 1 1/8 inch on this hole. If we need to go bigger after, we can to like 1 1/4. We're going 1 1/8. Just like that, punch straight in, and you're ready to go. We're gonna do the exact same step on the passenger side now. Boom, just like that. Holes on both sides. With both holes cut, we do wanna go ahead and deburr the holes as well. And we are on to step number 9. So this is our steering control box. It's gonna mount on your steering column here. And there's a couple of brackets that hold it on. So we're just gonna go ahead and loosen those up. We're gonna mount it at a distance that feels comfortable for the hand controls. All of the control wires that run off of it, these, we're gonna feed them down right through this little corner here along the bottom of the steering column and down through the dash. And then they're gonna go down below the cart. Now, some installs pull the floorboard out. You can do that, and it's a lot more involved to go, you know, straight here through the kick plate and this whole area. We've done that in our lithium install videos. That takes a long time to disassemble. You don't need to on this kit. You can run straight down through the dash, and then your main harness is actually really long, and we're gonna run up through the bottom of the cart through an opening that we'll show you over here. Not the drain hole that you see there, but it's an opening in the back that I'll show you with a light, and it makes it really easy. Jumping a little ahead for you guys here, but This is step 9. Let's get our steering control box mounted to the steering column. Okay, once you have your control box mounted and tightened down exactly how you want it, we're going to go ahead and put this plastic cover on this side. And what we did was we just looked and made sure it was nice and level. So it's once you put all this together, it's harder to adjust later. So now's the time to make sure you're nice and straight. We can go ahead and throw the plastic cover on now. We'll clip that baby in place. Makes it look nice and clean. Okay, so we're now routing the cables that will connect to our main harness down through the dash. Just kind of bunch everything up. It's already connected. We're just pulling it down through the opening in the dash. All right, for step 10, this is your steering column cover, came with your kit. And the way that it's built and the way that the notches line up, it goes on the far side like this, the left side of your steering column, and it hides this cable for you nicely. But before we can install that, Chris has the rotary tool here and a sanding head. And what we're gonna do with the barrel sander is we're gonna see where he made a little mark right there. That was done using a Sharpie. And we did the exact same thing on the dash piece over here that we removed earlier. It's right here in the corner. And the reason that we did that is this will fit much better with those sanded spots out. So we're gonna sand these right now. I'm gonna walk around to show you. Just slightly under that existing factory like cutout. That's exactly where we did it. Do the same thing now on the dash trim piece. Once you finish it, you can go ahead and test fit. We're not going to reinstall this piece right now, but you can go ahead and test fit to make sure that the cable that you're routing down from your control box will fit in the nice little notch that we made. So we're taking off a little more on the actual plastic trim piece. Okay, with the sanding all done, to complete step 10, we're going to go ahead and pop on our steering column cover. So you just feed the wire loom straight up through it and pop it on just like that. Alrighty, step 11. We are going to grab our brake pedal switch. This works with pressure. When you apply it, lights up the brake pedals. So there's 6 little openings on it for screws included with the light kit. And we're just going to tap these straight through on your existing brake pedal, and that's it. Starting with the corners like that will help you line up nice and straight. Side note, we're leaving these wire ends here, these connectors here, because we'll run them down through and connect them into the main harness when we're doing the entire main harness. Right now we're moving to the next step. Okay, for step 12, we're gonna grab the horn. So some people say to mount horn kits under the floor. Again, we're trying to go simple here and we want people to hear our horn. So we want ours in the front. There's a part on the frame here, it's steel, real easy, because the horn, to mount it, it just has a little tab on it. So we're gonna use a self-tapper. Looks just like this. So we're using a little number 10 and a P-clip. So we are choosing to mount it kind of just below that opening that's a triangle. We're gonna mount it right down at the center there, because then the connectors will stick up out of the back side of the horn. We'll be able to easily get them into the wiring harness. Just making a little mark so we know where to tap. Alrighty. And that does it. So she's tapped right in with the P-clip, and that is one nice horn externally mounted. Step 13 is where all the fun begins. We're going to grab our main wiring harness for this light kit. And that also means we're going to grab our RGB module that we pointed out to you at the beginning of this video. So we're going to connect the RGB module to the main wiring harness. And basically that little module helps you play with all the colors of the lights in your kit. Now, what Steeleng did here was, on this particular light kit, it's nice and easy. The white goes with the white and the red goes with the red for the front of your cart. So I'm going to show you over here now as Chris comes over with the harness. We already pulled these up to make it nice and easy to see. There's your passenger side headlight, the red and the red all hooked together, and the driver's side, the white and the white all hooked together. We are going to right now feed all this up through the bottom of the cart and plug in the headlights so that they're wired in nicely. And what Chris just did was zip tie these together. The zip ties were actually included with the kit, which is really nice, but if your light kit or whatever you bought doesn't have zip ties, it's nice to do some cable management while you can. Okay, we're gonna now feed these up through the bottom. So like we showed you guys at the beginning of the video, these holes behind the headlights, they were already there. They're part of the plastic mold on this club car. So Chris is just feeding the red up through this side, just like this. I'll grab it for him. And yeah, we might as well just plug in the reds. So we'll do the reds first. That one's like a 4-pin connector, so you can tell it goes with it, and the other one's like a 3. So that's how you know which one goes with which. Boom. So that headlight is now hooked into the main wiring harness. You can pull any of the extra slack straight down back through the hole, just so you don't have a bunch of wires sticking up, and boom, that's now plugged in. Doesn't have power to it, but it's plugged in. We're gonna do the same thing on this side. We are going to feed the white end connectors up, and then we're gonna go with the 3 and the 4 as far as the prongs go, and bang, bang. Now our driver's side headlight, same thing, hooked up, feed the slack back down through the cart. So for the wires that were fed down beneath, we just wanna show you guys what we're doing for mounting. We fed the wiring harness up behind this like metal bracket and over the top before we plugged it into the headlights. And so now that RGB module, Chris has it in his hands, we want to mount it to this little plate here, but we don't want to have to use screws. It's really easy. There's a couple holes there, and like we said, the kit includes zip ties. Just pop a zip tie through the hole. You'll see Chris do it right here, and then the little RGB module has 2 tabs on it as well. You're just going to feed it through the tabs on there and through the hole, and you can easily zip tie this thing in place. All right, and that, it's kind of hard to see from here, but it is zip tied in place and it looks great. For step 14, so remember earlier we fed this from our steering control box, we fed those wires down. There's your connector from your steering control module. Right now we're going to want to plug that in to, we just had all these other wires that we went up and plugged the headlights into off the main harness. There's a connector here that's going to control your steering control box, and there's also 2 little connectors that are purple that are going to go to your horn. So while we're up in the front, we want to get these plugged in to the main harness. So Chris is going to go ahead and plug the main connector from the harness into the steering control box module. So that goes right in there. So yeah, that was just, as you remember earlier, guys, as he's plugging that in, it's what we fed down right here. So he's just plugging that in, and then the other part of that was the 2 little purple wires, which are right there in his hands now, and he's bringing them to the other side, which I'll go around and show you as we plug in to the horn on this side. Okay, so as you can see there, I moved to the other side of the cart. There's the purple and the black, so now we're on the driver's side. Purple and black connector for the horn, and they're just gonna go right into the back of the horn here. There's 2 little tabs that stick up. It's kind of hard to get the shot because it's in there. You actually have quite a bit of room to work with, but it's hard to get the camera back there. They're just gonna plug in just like that. Okay, for step 15, so we're still at the front of the cart here. We have a few little individual connectors still down here from when we fed our steering column control down through the dash. So these little connectors are actually gonna hook up to a switch that was included in your kit from Steeleng. There's a couple little prongs on the back. And what this is this is your emergency flasher switch. And so Chris actually just pulled those back up, so you can just pull them straight back up through the ones that I just showed you down here. They just come right back up through the same hole. And then there's 3 of them that are gonna connect to here, but this has to sit somewhere. You don't just want it to sit loose. I mean, you could have it sit loose in the dash. We wanna have a nice clean mount. So that is why we pulled this piece off earlier as well. What we're gonna do is drill a hole right here, and we'll mount the switch on this little panel. There's almost a mark here already. It's from Club Car. There's 2 little dots that you can see on here. They're really small, okay? You can see it in the light there though. So that is exactly where we're gonna punch the hole. So Chris is gonna do a little pilot hole right there on that little dimple, and then we're gonna punch the real hole straight through, 1/2 inch. So even though we're going up to a 1/2 inch eventually, we're gonna go 3/16 next because we wanna just step up as we make this hole. So it's nice and even. And there's our hole. And then you can see, obviously we're gonna plug all this stuff in and put it in a second, but this will just feed straight through there, and then your switch sits just like that. Okay, now as we're gonna plug in the connectors on the back of this switch, it's important that you go black on top, blue in the middle, and yellow on the bottom. That's if you just line up with the image in your actual install instructions. It's the LED just being on the top, and you can see right here, there's our blue and our yellow, and our black's off to the side there. And as you're putting the switch in, there's actually a little like plastic ring that we just loosened off of it. This is what holds it in place. So we're just gonna stick that back on, tighten that down, and that fixes the switch to the dash panel. All right, so as we said, black on top, blue in the middle, yellow on the bottom. So we're going in reverse here. Yellow on bottom, blue in the middle, black on the top. Easy as that. You can see kind of what the switch looks like, just like that. So nice. Hazard switch. All right, now we are really making progress. Step 16, we're gonna connect our brake pedal switch. And I just wanna show you there's not much left here to do. We've been connecting all these accessories in the front. These red and black wires are just extra. If you ever want to add a couple more 12-volt accessories in the future, we will not use them on this install. This set of wires, the red and yellow, are going to go to your brake pedal switch, okay? And the way that we're going to get them through the floor is you can get these like commercial fishing lines for fishing stuff through your install. Those are pretty cheap at like auto parts stores, hardware stores, places like that. So we're going to fish this through, connect the brake pedal. As we're doing that, I just want to show you there's really not much left here. We have the taillight connectors, which are going to go run towards the back, and we actually have our mains here for the harness, which these are just going to connect up to the main positive and main negative on the cart. And that's it. That's really all we have left. So let's do the brake pedal switch, and we're getting pretty close here. Okay, so Chris is extending the line a little bit, and what he's going to do is feed it down through the pedal box, because we already looked down here, so this will be easy for you when you do it. There is a little piece down here. You can actually see it already just came straight out. It's kind of hard to see, but if you could wiggle that around, there it is. So it came straight down through the floor right there out of that little opening, and that's factory on this cart. So now with the line down there, we are going to attach our connectors to it with some painter's tape. We're going to pull it right back up through the floor and then connect it, and the brake pedal switch will be connected. You can use as much tape as you like, just make sure that it still fits through the opening. So there you go. Now we're literally pulling that little connector up through the floor, and just like this, there we are. Just like that. So now Chris is going to pull on the other end of the harness just to get any slack out. Feed that down so it looks nice. The goal is to always look like it came that way from the factory. Awesome. Brake pedal switch is now completely installed and hooked up. Okay, step 17. So we are getting super close, as I said. We're now going to take the remaining couple of things here from the wiring harness. We have the two taillight connectors and then the actual power supply hookup. Those just need to get up into the battery tray now. So we're going to do something very similar to what we just did. You can actually see the ground when you look down through that little black opening in the battery tray. So we've got our battery tray open. Chris is going to fish down with a line through that little hole. You can see exactly where it's going down. So we're just going down straight through there, and we're going to pull the rest of the harness and all the slack up into the battery tray. So he's going to tape this stuff on to that line now. the other connector head. And now we've got our positive and negative ring connectors as well. Taping those. All right. Just like that. So there we go. Step number 18, let's move on. So now we're gonna connect our taillights, and you can guess it, we're gonna fish it through again. So Chris is just gonna go straight through the hole that we drilled earlier, and pushing straight through that hole actually ends up with the, we already tested it, with the fish line coming right out here. Look at that, it's ridiculous. It's almost like it was made to be that way. So there we go, and now we'll tape this onto here, pull it back through, and your driver's side is gonna be the white connector, and you can, if you forgot that, or why it's that way, just look at your taillights. So here we go. Just feeding that straight back. And there it is. Okay, so now we're just gonna connect the taillight. We're not actually going to install. That's why we said we're just connecting in this step, because there's a couple screws and some adhesive. It's on the taillight actually already. So we're gonna do that next. We just wanna get the connections made. So once you're connected, you can just leave this hanging. Okay, moving to the passenger side, same exercise. There it is, look at that. It was still pretty fast. Okay, then we got our red connector for the passenger side, so we're gonna do the same thing. Now this one is gonna have a little less slack, but it should be enough to get you to the taillight. So okay, so we got the connector head out. That was pretty awesome that it made it all the way over to this side. We're still able to make our connection nice and smooth. Boom, just like that. And then to wrap this step up, we're just feeding the connector heads. We just did it on that side, back through. All right, step number 19. So now we're actually gonna mount our taillight permanently into place. And so there's some screws included with the kit. They're small, and they actually go through the tabs on the outer corners of the taillight. But also there's some VHB tape here, and what that does is that like waterproofs the opening as much as you can, so that this connector is not getting all wet. To make it stick, we highly recommend peel this off, but before you stick it, we're gonna use some alcohol to clear any grease and oils off of the body. So Chris has some isopropyl alcohol on the rag. We're just gonna clean the area generously, and then that'll make sure that our VHB adhesive actually sticks to the cart's body. While our rag is still covered in alcohol, we're moving to the passenger side to do the same thing. Next up, we're gonna make some marks with our Sharpie for the actual tabs of where we're gonna do some pilot holes. So rather than just, drilling the screws straight in and just hoping it's in the right spot, we wanna mark everything up, and we also don't want the screws to walk, because you wanna be pretty gentle so you don't damage the taillight at all. Okay, gonna go ahead and we're gonna drill that pilot hole. Same thing on the body. All right, now we're ready to stick some VHB tape on, put some screws in, get this light installed. Just peeling up the corner there. All right. Line it up to your holes. So that baby's in place now, and I'll get those screws in to really secure it. Nice and gentle, just like that. So there, our driver's side taillight is in and it's connected. Move on to the passenger side now. And the second one. Now we're gonna do the VHB tape mount. So again, peel that baby off, and we're just gonna press it into place. And we're just finishing up the passenger side. Okay, step 20. So you're probably excited now and you're like, ooh, let me just hook up my last two, my little connectors to the mains, and let me just get power to this light kit. And you could do that and you would fry your entire light kit. So what we need to do for step 20 is install the included voltage reducer. And so there's a couple connectors here, and we're gonna wire this baby in right now. And also we're gonna mount it. You can mount it anywhere you want in the battery tray, just somewhere where there's a flush opening. There's a couple of little openings on the side of the reducer, and you're gonna use some self-tapping screws to mount that in. Those red and black cables that I showed you, Chris is currently unplugging the connector from that because we need to plug it into the voltage reducer. So it's just you're adding this between, so there's your voltage reducer, and now we're gonna literally just connect the red and black on the other open connector on the voltage reducer. So the one coming from your main harness right here is black and yellow. That's what you're gonna connect it to. And then the black and red coming off here goes to your old existing black and red loose connectors, the ring terminals. We've got our connections made now to the voltage reducer off the harness, and we think we wanna mount it here. We could go in the corner as well if we had other stuff that we're ever gonna add in here, but you can just find anywhere that you think it looks good in your battery tray. And to mount this voltage reducer in, we just got a couple of number 10s. We use these all the time, self-tapping screws. So we're gonna line this thing up. And while I could be holding this for Chris, I'm just showing you that you can do this yourself. Just like that, nice and gentle. Okay, and our voltage reducer is in, so that will complete step number 20. And step 21. Okay, you guys have been waiting for this, so we're gonna get power to our unit. So we got our positive and our negative now, the ring terminal, or the ring terminal connectors from our voltage reducer. We're just gonna loosen up. I just pulled the caps off on our battery. We have a lithium battery in this cart, so this will be slightly different if you're using lead acid batteries, which battery you'll actually put it on. But we only have 2 connectors here, so we recommend going with, if you're doing this on a lead acid cart with old style Trojan batteries, go with the main positive and the main negative when you hook these up. So just line everything up just like that and tighten it all back down. So our harness is completely hooked up now. That completes step 21. We have a little more buttoning up to do up here, and then we'll show you how the whole light kit looks. So what we're gonna do with the slack, with those extra, like that's for extra 12 volt accessories, if you ever wanna put like USB charger or anything else up in your dash. So we're gonna feed that slack back up through the same hole that we fed it down through earlier in the install. And the reason we're doing that is then it makes it really easy to just take only this panel off here if you ever wanna install anything else up here, a radio, whatever else. So feed it back up and just let it live back here behind your dash panel. You won't have anything dragging on the ground or looking crazy beneath the cart. All right, with all that cable management done, step 22 continues. We're just gonna put the front cowl back in place. Okay, and with a little left and right adjusting on our end, we have the front cowl reinstalled. Finally, the last step, step number 23. So we're gonna reinstall our dash trim pieces, the upper and the lower, and then we'll show you what this light kit looks like completely done. So for the upper dash trim piece, you're just popping it back in place around the rear side of the cowl. And then remember, this one is T25 Torx screws. Okay, and then for our lower dash trim piece, now remember, we unplugged that connector to make things earlier from the actual factory harness before, the one behind Chris's hands. And so we're gonna re-plug that back in. So plug that connector back in, and then we can just put this back up into place. And then remember, we have 2 T27s on the bottom, one here and one on the other side. And then there's a little T15 Torx screw on top. Now we'll show you what this thing looks like. Okay, so we've got our battery turned on, and then we already showed you the horn earlier, but that just lives on the outside of the stock. If you flick forward one, so right now the lights are off. If I go forward one twist, you're gonna get your RGB. You'll watch these come on. Those are super cool. And then you can control those in the app as well. When you go forward another twist, you're gonna have your actual projector. Looks super cool. We'll get the lights off too and show you what that looks like. And then obviously the taillights are on right now. I'm gonna have Chris do the indicators for me as well, left and right indicators. So left indicator, you can see there, have your turn signal, right indicator, same. And then I'll show you in the front, And these are the cool ones that sequence, which I believe we showed you earlier, but your indicators are just like that, sequencing that way, and then sequencing as you do the right as well. So one last thing is you can download the app. Steeleng includes a QR code in the manual as well. And then you can play with everything on this kit. So you can do, you have all your color presets right here. You can play with the way that the lights actually sequence. You can do, you know, purples, blues. You can use the actual color dial if you just want to, you know, like, okay, I want green and I'm going to drop it over there, or I want yellow and I'm going to drop it up there, or I want pink and I'm going to drop it over there. So you can play with all the colors, and then you can also link your music to it, which, so we don't get copyrighted, I'm just going to do a quick one, but you can see right there, it will play along to your music at the block party. So very cool, awesome light kit, great bang for the buck, and works on any club car tempo, works on the onward as well, obviously, if you want to change the lights on your onward. If this video helped you out, please drop us a like below because it really helps out our channel. And be sure to subscribe to our channel as well because we drop cool videos like this all the time. Also head over to golfcartiresupply.com to get your club car tempo light kit. We sell this light kit, we sell kits for E-Z-GO, we sell kits for Yamaha and every other cart on the market. Thank you guys so much for coming by. Take care. Bye-bye. Teach you how to add a yeah!
50 points.
You waste all your energy for the film.